So how long did you wait until you got it fixed?
I got it almost immediately. I was so lucky. So my cousin was roommates with the little brother of the Steelers orthopedic surgeon. I'm from Pittsburgh. And I tore it on a Thursday night around 5:30 p.m. and I was in surgery Monday morning.
So then what did it look like that following week?
I had that big cast on and I was slung up. And I'm really lucky because my best friend, Frawley, and he's one of my training partners and probably the strongest guy at our gym. His wife is a DPT, so she sees strongman training. So I was able to get in with her really fast and start to actually move it. Cause the old if you get in with an old, my surgeon was great. The medical team was great, but man, if it was up to them, I'd still be in a damn robot arm restricting range of motion. And it's like, you don't realize once you start letting it hang and start moving it. But the first week, I was casted up.
Well, the question that everybody wants me to address is this rehab thing, which is, it's a weird thing, right? Because you have surgery to get something fixed, and then you're told to do one thing, and then most of the people that I know are never going to do that one thing that they were told to do. And then they're kind of put on the spot and, on a podcast. So what did you do? Well, I didn't listen to my doc. You know what I'm saying? That becomes dicey.
It was like, I would go to Leah, who is my physical therapist, and she's like, you have your 1 month post-op. Don't tell them what we've been doing. Just tell them we've been following their protocol. So I got it moving really fast. I'm not going to lie though, 14 days I followed their protocol. I was slung up. I was in a heavy cast. People sending me all these protocols to take. And it was kind of, I came to a really big, like I could go this way or I could go this way, like a crossroads, I guess. And I didn't take any like SARMs or peptides or anything. And I stayed there for 14 days. But then after those 14 days, man, I was moving.
Well, that's
I was running and I was doing because if you compete in something for so long, like I'd power lifted since my sophomore year of college. We started a powerlifting club in college. So that gave me something to do. Because I love competing. I played sports growing up, and then I found strongman. So you go from competing in something for so long and being your identity, and then I got to go to my damn gym and see all these guys getting a deadlift, and it's like I'm in hell, man. Like I want to train with these guys. Like I want to kick their ass. Like I like being stronger than them. I like trying to be the strongest guy at my gym, and so that was really hard. So I immediately found stuff I could do. I tore it on a Thursday, and on a Saturday, what I did before my surgery was I hit a max effort box squat in my sling. No cast or anything yet, because it just gave me something to go in and be like, like fuck this injury. I'm still going to train around it. I'm going to find a way to get the heaviest loads I can take and show the guys in my gym that I'm not a pussy and I want to show up and train, not to be a hard ass, but I'm not, but.
Well, this is not medical advice, so we'll put that out there. Like, listen to your doctor and your physical therapist. Where the injuries are, especially the surgical injuries are. I like that you mentioned that crossroad, because now that's a huge thing. Like as soon as acquaintances know, like there's friends and there's like one step removed from that, like the acquaintances. As soon as it's like, boom, you need to do all these different protocols and all that. And the one thing I'd always throw out there is, so exactly how much time is this going to click off? Right. Because they can't answer, right? Well, you're going to heal way faster. Like, but what? Yeah. How much? Like 7 days, 14 days? Right. Because if you're looking at 6 months to 2 months, really make that much of a difference for the additional $2,000 you're going to spend on all this shit to be able to help. Whereas that first week, the way I always kind of approached it, and what I'll tell people that I know aren't going to sue me, because I'm not a doctor and this is not medical advice, is for me, it was always as soon as the anesthesia is out. Because if I tried to train too soon, you don't know how weak you can be until you'll know it's too soon, because you can't press 20-pound dumbbells. You can't do shit. Yeah. For me, it was always about 5 days. Then you can start just find what you can do and just do that. But the injuries are, and I wonder if this was the case for you, the injuries always come at these weird times to where either everything's going really good and you never expect the injury, but actually sometimes you kind of, but sometimes you're more at risk, but they never seem to happen then. They always happen when you're like, flaming through. But they also seem to come at a time to where you're focused and you're motivated to do the training, but you're also just kind of going through what you've always done. Like I'm going to make an assumption here for that, Arnold, you were training with motivation and all that, but not like you did 8 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, training always changes.
Yes,
Like it's crazy, you know. I used to get I was one of those guys that I would get so fired up for a lift. You know, I was leaving with a bloody forehead, you know, every training session, even just to do eight reps on a deadlift, you know. And now I have kids, and I don't know if I've just pulled from that well so much, but my training motivation is so much different. And I've turned into I listen to slow music when I lift now, and I just train much calmer. And I'm still getting stronger, don't get me wrong. But yeah, it's funny because I got the advice from a good coach once to only pull from that well when you need it. And now that's kind of how I train, where I leave my well full. And then when I really need to pull from it on those days where I can go in the gym alone or just have my best guys in there with me, that's when I can really pull from that well if I need to hit a big deadlift or whatever.
When you first start doing that, you're wondering if that's what you should have.
Right.
You think you're kind of puss and all this other stuff. Where the injury set a new anchor. Like you get this main injury, then you're like, I'm coming back from this.
Yeah.
And then that becomes more of a motivational force than what the original force actually was.
Yeah. It's almost a positive in some aspects. Like you said, a bicep's not the end of the world. Like you come back, you know, pretty fast. I'm not rushing back into a show because you have a while till the next competitive season will start for me. But yeah, it's been a new motivation for me to come back from, and I think my well will be really full when I'm back training super heavy and just have a new fire lit under my ass. Cause you want to come back, and people write these injuries off like, oh man, he tore his bicep. He's going to not be around anymore, you know, or whatever. And I think that's a great thing to have in my ear. Like people writing you off or whatever, and be able to just come back fine.
Yeah. I think for strongman, you almost have to get it fixed.
Yeah.
Because of the stones and stuff like that. Powerlifting, I never understood why anybody got
it.
Yeah. And because with the bicep from the powerlifting side, I came up during a different time, but the rehab took longer if you got it fixed. If you just left it off,
leaving it alone,
like 2 weeks, you're good.
Yeah. It's tricky with strongman too, because some shows can be so bicep heavy. You get your typical local show or just normal show is going to be 5 events. And man, you can get bicep heavy in that show. I mean, you can have a stone run, you can have sandbag to shoulder, a deadlift where it's like a ladder. So I might want to do, so I don't have to strap in. I can go faster if I go over, under. And I've always pulled with this arm as my supinated arm. So it makes sense that this is the one that's torn. And you can just get, I mean, even an axle clean, which I toured on, that could be your press. So you can have 5 events that are, I mean, your bicep is your main mover on, you know, or one of the main movers on all 5 of those events. So when I do pick my next show to come back, I got to be a little bit careful with, you know, that, because I notice how quick it wears out. It's weird, you know, being 4 months post-op. It's like you feel strong, but it gets really fatigued very quickly.
So when you got out of the sling, what was the first goals? With the bicep,
to move, to get full. I was really
full range of motion.
Yeah, I was really disappointed when I first got out of my sling because I could not. It's just scar tissue. I can look back at it now. But when you get hurt, you're so psychologically, you're in so many places, right? And you're like, man, what if because like strongman, your overhead lockout has to be to certain standards. So I'm like, man, what if I'm only pressing a log like this the rest of my life, and I'm just beating myself up? So my main goal was to get my damn range of motion back, because it's such a mind fuck, because you're sitting there and you're like this. And you're trying to extend that bicep and you can't. And I went to PT and she's like, listen, you're going to be fine. Every time I would go to a session, I would feel better having my own gym and knowing my PT. She was able to give me stuff to do at the gym as well. So I was basically just, my first goal to knock off was, hey, press something over your head where you can extend it fully and it looks normal. Like,
so when you're doing the full range of motion work, how many times a day are you doing that?
Multiple. I had, I got a heavy hammer and I would do these and this and rotate, you know, pronation, supination. And I was doing that 2 to 3 times a day at work. I was doing hangs, like assisted hangs, just to try to open it up. I was massaging.
How do the hangs work? Because I can see that being locked up. You're just kind of static.
Yeah, you're like, what the hell? So what I did was I kind of just like linear progressed it. I have one of those assisted pull-up machines at my gym that I don't really like for pull-ups and dips too often, but it was really nice for this because I could go on there and hang and have that weight under my feet, and I could just each session see how much more I could take. How much more can you take? Because it's like, again, it goes back to like that psychological, you just feel like it's going to tear. It's not going to tear, you know? And so I basically just went to that point where I had to stop. You know, like you were right at that like flare up point. So it's like, okay, this week I can have 15 pounds of resistance on there and I can hang for 30 seconds. Next time when I come in on Wednesday, I'm going to do 13 pounds. And then, and, you know, and over the weeks now I can just hang.
So with that one, with the multiple sessions per day, did you pick up more range of motion by session 5 compared to session 1?
Yes. The hardest part was waking up in the morning. Because every day, you know, you sleep like this. I got a 2-year-old sleeping on my arm. It's, you know, you get locked up. And then as the day goes on, it's like when you wake up and you feel shitty from a deadlift session, you know, your low back feels pumped or whatever. And then you wake up throughout the day and you're just moving around, walking, whatever, you know, it opens up throughout the day. So I would go to bed and I'd be like this. But when I woke up, I was like this. So it's just working it out. I just noticed very early on, like the more attention I put to it every day, you know, the better it felt.
Well, so. I think one area, and I get it because if they have different jobs and stuff like that, they're not in the gym all the time.
Sure.
But the one area I see a lot of people screw up when they're coming back from injuries is you do this 3 to 5 times per day, right? The 5th time is when you're actually getting the best progress, but that doesn't happen unless you did those other 4. If you just came in and did the 5th at 5:00 p.m., you're not going to get that same progression. And then over a period of a month, you're so much further ahead compared to the people. The worst case scenario is they're going to do it twice a week, 3 times a week, you know, maybe when they get up. Worst case is they don't do anything.
Yeah. My dad.
Exactly.
So crazy. It's a little side note, but my dad doesn't lift weights. He's been like the best thing to ever happen to me in my life. He helps me with everything. And he was doing he's doing maintenance on a piece of equipment at the gym and testing out, and he tore his bicep like 16 hours before me. He tore his strong arm distal tear, full distal tear. He had no idea what it meant because, like I said, he doesn't train or lift. And he calls me. He's like, "Man, I was working on the preacher curl and I tried it out and I felt a rip up my arm." I'm like, "Damn, dude, you might have I kind of almost jokingly said, "Damn, dude, you might have tore your bicep." I went over his house and it was rolled up. I'm like, "You tore your bicep." And then the next day I tore mine. And he didn't believe me until I went in and got mine looked at. So if it wasn't for me tearing my bicep, I think my dad would have just torn his and not got it fixed or anything. So I kind of got to go through at least I had a buddy to go through it with. But yeah, like it's funny too, because a lot of strongman competitors have told me like, "Man, it's crazy to see you back, you know, pressing a log already or doing this already," because it sucks with our medical system. They treat everybody the same. They treat my dad the same as an 80-year-old lady, and they treat the active 25-year-old strongman competitor the same as that 80-year-old lady, and they give them all the same protocol. So I think it's really important to do independent research and get with people that understand your specific goals. Because when you go in for your post-op, I mean, it's almost like they're spitting in your face. Like these surgeons are super smart, don't get me wrong, but they're smart in their own field. Well,
they're surgeons too. They're not physical therapists.
Yes. So my 2-month post-op, my surgeon didn't even touch me. He was amazed that I could do this. I'm like, "Dude, I just pressed a 135 log before I came in here." You know, he was amazed that I could rotate my wrist. And it's like, that's the problem. And they see so many people. I get it. You're in that doctor's office for 2 minutes, you know, at best.
Well, most of the people aren't going to do any of that rehab either. So he's amazed because you actually did the rehab.
And I was very adamant with my surgeon and his team before, like, "Hey man, like I'm in my early 30s. I still want to compete for a very long time. I want to do this. Like my arm needs to lock back out. Like I need to do you'll be fine." But like, it's funny because their protocols don't reflect that. You know, like they want you to be in that robot arm for, I mean, literally 4 to 6 months. Like it's wild. It's absolutely crazy. I had a buddy that just did a show 6.5 months post tear, and his surgeon was like, "Dude, you shouldn't be lifting more than 100 pounds. And it's like, to me, it's the opposite. Like I said, they're smart in their own realm.
No, it's weird. It's weird. It's the way I always kind of saw it is they're surgeons, and that's what they excel at, is what they actually do in that room. And I don't want them to be good at anything other than that.
True.
Like you be good at that. But I've had surgeons for tendon issues to where with the shoulder, I forget which one it was, but I had the first pec I had, I got an extensive list, was the same thing that you're talking about. You need to do it. And this was forever ago. And then I had one that was is the other pec or the shoulder completely the opposite, to where it's like, look, when you get home, I want the sling off as soon as you can get it off. And when you move in range of motion, I'm like, well, what if I re-tear it? He's like, this isn't going anywhere. This is anchored in there.
Yep.
You're going to tear the other one before you tear this one. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What'd you just say? Right? Because I want to confirm all this to be sure. And then I could go more aggressively on it. But both of those are probably bad.
Sure.
Like the answer is going to always be in the middle.
Yeah.
So once you got your range of motion back, what did your training, how did that change?
Well, so I set out on, my training has been different the last 4 months because like I said, I always competed in something. I like having a goal. So I'm like, man, I'm not going to be able to pull a 700-pound deadlift for a little bit. Right. So I'm going to try to run a sub 20-minute 5K. That's like a really good 5K time for someone who hasn't ran in, years and years and years and years. And so I immediately started running with my brace on and then doing 3 days a week weight training on top of my PT. So my training has looked a little different because I've been running and trying to chase.
Does that change your gait at all?
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. I know there'll be a little bit of a learning curve when you come back because it's like, man, like running is it's just different, and it's a huge learning curve. And me, I've always been a nerd for strength conditioning. I kind of went down this rabbit hole where I'm like calling every competitive runner I know, asking for advice.
Well, you're not just doing miles either. You're doing long distance. So that repetitive.
Yep. That's the biggest thing that I think people mess up when they start to get into running. They try to go into it too fast and do too specific. So if my goal is a 5K, like they just get out there and run a 5K hard as shit. Well, you'll have shin splints. You won't be able to train for like 2 weeks. And I kind of looked at like my program and I'm like, man, like why am I doing like an 11K, a 12K, like up to a 15K if I'm only running a 5K? But I can definitely see why. It's almost like speed work in the gym. Like you're teaching yourself to go through those at like a submaximal weight, but there's still a purpose to, like over speed eccentrics and moving a bar really fast. That's kind of those longer runs are almost like recovery, but then I'm getting those extra reps in where like I can do it for a long time because I'm going slow as shit, but I'm learning in that run. You're on like mile 5 and you're like, oh wow, like if I do this, it feels a lot better, or you know what I mean? So it's like, it's those little minor reps. So it's just like in the gym, you learn things through.
So if somebody's new to, say they want to move into the ultra type of thing.
Yeah.
And how fast should they scale it? Because if they want to do a 5K, you said just don't go out and do the 5K.
Yeah.
And so the difference between the 5K and what you end up doing is vastly different.
Yes.
Right? Because there's still the wear and tear that happens because of that long distance, but you got to build the work capacity and the durability to do it.
Yeah.
So how would you have somebody build up to that?
I would start, it'd be frustrating, but I would start slow as shit your first month because like
slow, speed or distance or both?
Both. So frequency, I would do 1. And if you feel good by the end of the week, I would do a 2nd, but I would 100% listen to my body. Cause I went out there and I'm like, man, I can just run every day. Like runners are dorky, they don't, you just get out and run. Like, what the hell is it? But like I came out of the gates way too fast and it definitely set my training back. And now that I've been like really listening to everything, so I would really start like 1 session the first week. I know it's gonna be frustrating. And then, you can go into your 2s. And then once you're in your 2 sessions a week, I think you can run 3 times a week and start to ramp it up. But you got to really be careful because I mean, man, like those shin splints I had that first, I was just pissed off too because I tore my bicep. So now I'm gonna go out here and just run a hard ass 5K. But
that's interesting because you have a history of the running before all this too. Right. So you already kind of built all that, which has got to be even more frustrating that you got to back it way down to something that you know is a joke.
Well, so I ran a test 5K like in my town. There's like a big one for the firefighters and went out and supported and ran it. And man, it's like you get home and you're used to, you're competing at the Arnold or at Worlds or where just doing strongman contests and you think you're this big tough guy. And then you get some, dude that's 110 pounds in a pink fanny pack just running laps around you, and it's like, it's just a different principle. It's a different thing running, it's just like they couldn't come in and do strongman or powerlifting. And I learned a new respect for it, doing it. I think it's fun too, to just do hard stuff. Like if you've been training and powerlifting, strongman, whatever, it's just fun to have a goal and do something hard. Like I don't want to just sit around and, not do anything. So that's kind of why I did it.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I have a mic over
Yeah,
here.
you're good.
But I run once a week,
Mhm.
and I try not to go faster than like a 10-minute mile,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because the powerlifting, I don't want it to mess up that.
Sure.
I feel like I cannot go slower than like
That's
a
how I felt.
10:30. Like I try as hard as I can. I cannot go slower than a 10:30 because
Yeah.
it's like you should try like 11-minute, 11:30, and I'm like, how do you run so slow? Like
It's-
just walk at that point. Like I
Yeah,
just don't understand that.
it's a huge it puts you in a mental pretzel, right? Because like you're like he's right. You feel I had like a 12-minute mile pace for like a really long distance one time, and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm running backwards. But it is important. And if I was running 1 day a week, like just like how you are, like if you just like running, I would always just like undulate those weekly. I would do like my long distance slow run where you're running like a 10-minute mile or whatever, because you probably have the work capacity to do it now. You know, you're a fit guy. And then I would go down the track and I would do like 4 800s harder, and like with like a 60-second rest or whatever. And then like the next week do 5 800s and see if you can push that pace a little bit, and just because you'll be able to recover with like one hard run every 2 weeks, you know, if you like running. So that's,
Should
I
he
think
be worried about this having some negative consequence to his powerlifting?
Well, I mean, it depends. Like if you're trying to beat like that Colton dude, yeah, probably.
Well,
But like if you just love it and you enjoy, if I always say, like, if you enjoy doing something, like as long as it's not like heroin or whatever, like there's probably a lot worse things you could do. So I think he'd be, you know.
well, I think it would
fine.
depend upon one's work capacity,
Yeah.
right? Because if he's holding that mile time back, going that slow,
Yeah.
I could see that being more detrimental than if he actually did try to pick it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
That's why I like
he's
this.
getting stronger,
Right.
right? Just from the training he's doing, he's
Right.
getting stronger. And if he picks it up, as long as he's not like doing 100 sprints.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's, I mean, it's every person too, right? We know like strength training is so individualized, but like he's in shape, you know. I'm just always a big fan, like listen to your body. And like I do a lot of online coaching, and every single person is obviously so much different, you know, the equipment they have, but just like even like the mental capacity of what they can handle, and then the physical capacity of what they can handle. I would just listen to your body. Like, man, run like a 9-minute mile, and if it's a little bit harder, and then just keep going and see where your stopping point is.